afternoon, everyone. Good to have you here as the Wildcats head to the regular season finale. Okay, we'll be hosting, obviously, in-state rival Louisville on Saturday, 3 o'clock. Game will be televised on the SEC network. And at this point, we will turn it over to Coach.
Sure. Thanks, Tony. Really looking forward to honoring the seniors here. Senior Day, we're going to be recognizing 28 seniors, including Chris Oates. We all know and appreciate the support that the BBN has given Chris. Our fan base, our university, our players care deeply about Chris and the rest of our seniors, and looking to end on a positive note. We all know there's been some ups and some downs through this season, and looking forward to the challenge of competing against a rival at home on Senior Day. So we need to continue to build and play with the great intensity that we did a week ago. As I mentioned after the game and touched on it, again, it was not much different after watching the film. I thought our guys played extremely hard. I thought our coaches gave us a good opportunity to be successful. Our players played very hard. They had a great competitive spirit about them and competed and were very physical, gave us our opportunities. We know there's some shortcomings. There's some areas where we need to continue to improve. Bottom line is they were 4 or 5 in the red zone. Positive note for the defense, we held them to field goals on 3 of those. And for us, capitalizing on the drives. I thought having 4 sustained long drives against that team, that defense is good. The negative side, once again, is to come away with 0. Even, with the opener, with an 11-play drive and getting stopped on downs. Obviously, very disappointing getting stopped on downs, but kind of set the tone to be positive for our offense and have the ability to move the football. And then another long drive that ends in an interception. We got to be smart there. Even with our play calls, with forcing it, kind of take what they give us there, at least get on the board, gives us some momentum. So there was a lot of good things to build on, and some areas where we're continue to fall short that we have to address and get better. Again, I want to compliment Louisville, Coach Satterfield. Their team is a very good football team coming off a big victory against a ranked opponent coming in here. So big game for both of us, and really looking forward to the challenge.
Mark, for you as a coach, how big a game is this for you? I know it's always big because it's the next game, but speaking as a coach, I know for the fans and players, it's a real big deal.
You know that. It's a big game, and I'm going to say every game is because it is. We sit in here and it's a long season, and you have to compete and be ready each and every week. I said it day one when I walked in the door, when we had a lot of work to do and they were a top 10, that it was important. That I recognize that from the first moment I walked in here, that it's important. I never shied away from that, and I won't. It's important to our fan base. It's important to our team. It's the last game of the year, and we need to go compete and play well.
Mark, the contract extension, why did you want to make that commitment in season now?
Well, John, we made that commitment to each other a while ago, and I kind of feel bad about the timing of it. Nobody, I wasn't very proud of some of the losses, certainly coming after the Vanderbilt game and all that. But I told you, last January, that when Mitch and I and Dr. Capilouto make an agreement, we make an agreement. And I said that about Jimmy and lawyers and all that stuff. But we have worked together so long that we have a great commitment to each other and a trust and a belief in each other, and the stability was important. And early in the season, there was a lot of noise, and I just simply said, I'm committed to this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm committed to this place, and they vice versa. And so, it was agreed upon when things were really good. But obviously, I feel bad for Mitch and Dr. Capilouto and not doing my part, truthfully. After that game, believe me, I better just stop there. I felt very bad about it, about that loss, and some of the parts of the season.
Which, based on what you just said, as it relates to the contract extension, were the years and the commitment that they show more important than the dollars themselves?
Absolutely. It's important, and I think, the contract that I had also could roll over for a very long time. And, we got to that point where it was like, okay, I think that piece of it, we know we could let go, and move on from the automatic rollovers and things of that nature. We never know, none of us can predict the future, so, it was a commitment. I was appreciative. It's simply as easy it was the last time. But for me, it's like, I know I'm committed here. If that proves to everybody, so people quit talking about things. Now I know we lost, so everybody started saying the other way. But I get it. So take the good with the bad. I've been here a long time, but I'm committed to this place and have been. This is my home. This is a place that I've helped build to this point. We have built it to this point. Do we want more? Yes. I think we want to continue to grow. Dr. Capilouto expects more. Mitch expects more, and I do. And, I want to continue to build, continue to have the continuity, and I want to improve. And there's a lot of people that would like to have the stability that we have had, and there's a lot of people that would, much like us, be driven to compete at higher levels as well.
Mark, there were rumors that some big-time programs were coming after you pretty hard. How seriously did you listen to any of their pitches?
I don't talk about any of that because I don't like to disrespect any school or anybody or anything. I think with the work that we've done here, I think it goes without, I don't need to say anything. I think, there's a lot of people over the years that have inquired, and it's, I really don't push that. I'm in season, I'm committed to my players, I'm committed to this place, and I've never strayed 5 minutes from that.
Mark, were you encouraged by the way your offense was able to move the ball in the fourth quarter? And if you were, was there anything you could take from that over to the Louisville game?
There is. I think the drives, even early, the drives, an 11-play drive, a 13-play drive, of course, we want to start ending in some points, but I think that is encouraging. But to go 99 yards against a team like that and score a touchdown and then back it right up with another 70-yard drive, and we got to get those points there. And we're one score away, and that's why we had to take the 3 at that moment and give us an opportunity, and we did get the ball back. It's also encouraging that the defense made some critical stops in some really big moments and against an extremely physical team. And so, I think that shows a lot of the guts and determinations and things that we've done through the years to put ourselves in a position to win games.
Ramon Jefferson, Mark, not on the senior day list. Is he going to try to apply for a medical red shirt, maybe come back next year?
Yes, could possibly, yeah.
He is on the list. Does that mean
JJ, much like last year, there's guys that are on the list that already went through senior day that won't go again. That went through senior day last year and came back. I think there's 6, right? So he'll have an option, decision to make and things to look at.
Goal line has taken some flack this year, obviously. The fact that you were able to establish the tempo against Georgia and kind of keep it for the whole game, what does it tell you about maybe some improvements they've made up front?
Well, I think it definitely is improvement. I think we've worked hard to, again, the last several weeks talk about building and doing the things we're doing well, and maybe eliminating some of the things where areas where we're falling short and put them, because our players play hard. They always have, and so we need to make sure we're doing a good job of putting them in a position. I thought they really strained and played to a high level. You got to give DeAndre credit again. I mentioned after the game, but to step in and really compete against a team like that and be thrown into it, 20, 30 minutes before the game, really stepped up and did well. And I thought the guys really strained and played hard, and that's what we got to continue to look at and build at and build up the positive things from that.
Any update on
Kenneth, things are good. I said it after the game that they appeared to be going well. I told you I'd update it today. Again, things seem to be positive as it relates to his health. Not finalized yet, so I can't say any more than that other than it's looking good, and continue to make sure we check all the boxes and make sure the young man is taken care of properly.
What's it do for
defense offense thing like he did, ever start out that spot work, that spot and then don't, and then moved over and come back through like they said?
It says an awful lot about him, and I listened to the O-line as we were leaving, exiting the locker room here at the stadium, and as they were talking, and I was here, or Eli was talking to him, and Eli was complimenting to the rest of the group about how his preparation never changes. And I think a lot of young people can learn from that. If you're in a backup role, you're not getting all the snaps that you want, and maybe you're striving for more, to still continue to prepare. And that says a lot about him and his character, because he's constantly working, and when he got that opportunity, he really did well. And with playing will help him in some areas where maybe he was falling short. That experience, and as the things change and the pitcher moves, you got to continue to play at the same level. And we'll need that this week with Louisville's defense. I really think they're doing a really good job of kind of attacking and mixing things up and creating some pressure. And that's an area where we've struggled at times this year. And so we got to make sure we really buckle down and continue to improve even through this last week.
Speaking of that, they've, I think, forced 28 takeaways on defense. I think that leads all power conference teams. What are you seeing? Is it just that aggressiveness just leading to a lot of fumbles and interceptions?
Yeah, I think that's, a compliment to them. The way they are attacking and moving and line twists and bringing different backers and doing a lot of different things, it's created some big plays for them.
After the Vanderbilt game, Will said that this team sometimes has trouble getting up against lesser opponents. When it's a ranked team, they have no problem being motivated. What's kind of the mentality of this team heading into a rivalry game against a hot Louisville team?
We'll see. I meet with them at 1:30, so we'll see how it goes this week. I would expect our team to respond and to continue to build on just, again, the energy, the focus, the toughness, the preparation. Last week was very challenging just through the week. The guys did a good job of holding themselves accountable and pushing and working hard to prepare, because as mentally and physically it gets challenging. And again, after that game, as you can imagine, that is a physical game. Kirby said it prior to the game. I'm sure they probably feel the same way after. We do. It's a big, strong team, and it's a physical game. I was pleased with our team stepping up to compete at that level and physically and mentally accepting that challenge. I want to execute in critical moments and make the plays to win like we all do, but that piece of it was elevated, and we need to stay there.
Mark, your run defense has given up over 250 yards consecutive games now. Georgia's, they're Georgia. But what are you seeing from kind of your defense in the run? Is it more oozing? You talk about not oozing. What's going on?
Yards per play. If you look at that in that game, it was very good. It was very even. So you got to play a whole game. And so that's a big, strong, physical team. I thought we had some extremely tough physical fits and played extremely stout at times. And then, you play, some of it is again, perimeter stuff. Some of it is crack replacing. Some of it is things of that nature. It's not just a toughness, we're going to mush you and push you around type of thing, So it all fits together. It's team defense. Overall, team defense was pretty good again.
You mentioned Eli earlier. How's he played this year? How's he made that move to center?
Yeah, Eli's really coming into his own. I think getting better and better, getting more confident, continuing to find his voice as a leader and, and be that guy in the middle of that offense. And he's getting better and, love his work ethic and his attitude, and he's getting better all the time.
Will's legs were such a big part of last year's game. It looked like he's getting at least a little closer last week to his old self there. Is that...
I think that's a big piece of it. Definitely can't go without being talked about. I think you look at Will, it's the healthiest he's been in a while. You know, he felt better. Just the threat and just his comfort level of just getting off schedule. You know what I mean? And buying a little time, scrambling. He scrambled on the 99-yard drive. He pulled it down and just took that lane right away. Maybe he was hesitant before just because he wasn't at 100%. And just making those decisions, you know, is important, and it's a threat to a defense. And that got that drive started. You know, and we go on for 99 yards, but that's a piece of it. You know, in the game we lost, you know, the quarterback pulling it down and scrambling for a first down is frustrating. It hurts. You know, you look at Malik, and I don't know if he's going to play or not. Both of their quarterbacks are playing really well. You know, Brock and Malik, but Malik, you know, always has that threat, and it's not only the designed runs, but it's also just getting off schedule. You know, and creating plays, whether it be in the pass game or in the run game. But I think Will just having that ability and showing it once or twice definitely helped us.
Coach, when you have a couple of 10-win seasons, which obviously didn't happen around here a lot, and then you have the potential for an 8-win season, which you still do, to a lot of people, though, that doesn't look as great. Is that okay? Are you okay with that bar being where it is, or would you prefer a little more?
Oh, of course I'm okay with that bar. I could handle the criticism, and you know I want expectations high. It's just like we asked that question earlier about how I handle preseason and hype. And I mean I'm not hyping it up, and I'm not gonna talk bad about my team. Like why would I do that? You know, I believe in them. I love them. I love the way they work and prepare and play for each other. I mean I'm not gonna. I mean again, what? If I say, yeah, I want to be 10-2, what am I giving up on 2? You know, that's just my philosophy. I don't give up on any of them. And I understand. I'm a big boy. I can handle people wanting more, you know, and I want more too, you know, and, you know, believe me, I wish I could take some of that contract I just got and give it to my players and give it to these, you know, collectives that everybody gets, because I certainly would. I wish they'd let me do that. I promise you I'd donate back to the players.
Mark, how much of a challenge is it preparing for two quarterbacks?
Not much. I mean, we have to prepare for Malik, and they do the same with Brock as far as some of the quarterback run game designed. You know, just with the zone read keeps and just things with the gun runs, you have to be prepared for. Obviously, I think Malik is a dynamic runner. We understand that. And that's more off-schedule stuff, you know, pulling down, scrambling, you know, pass game lanes and all that kind of stuff. But preparing for both, no, we have to do that. We have that built in all the time, and when we face enough of it where we have to be prepared for that.
Jamarius Jenkins was involved in both those plays at the 1-yard line. What have you seen from his development behind some of those older guys?
Yeah, definitely stepping up, getting better. And I think as a D-line in general, I love their energy. And that's one group where I have to give them credit, because I think all of our team can learn from them, even during the moments when we were talking about motivation and getting them ready and the grind of the season. I really have been pleased with the leadership and the growth in there. The energy they bring to practice every day. They're working hard to get better. It's carrying right over to the field. And, you know, and they're setting a good example for a young guy like Dion. You know, Dion's playing good, and he has good guys around him that are encouraging him and working hard. And Stu's doing a good job of coaching them. And so I really give a shout out to those guys for their preparation, their work, and they're getting better. Do we want to be better? Do we want? Yeah. I mean, we want pressure on the quarterback. We want it all, you know, but they're really working hard. They're kind of setting the tone for a defensive unit that always has buy-in, you know, and Dion had some 2 QB pressures, I want to say, and, you know, and the rest of those guys, they're really playing hard.
Mark, to my untrained eye, it looked like Zion's shoulders really made some good open field tackles. Has he exceeded what you thought you would get when you got him out of the portal and got what you expected?
Yeah, no, we knew we were getting a good player. He had played a lot of snaps. We saw a lot of that on film, but to step up and make an open field tackle against Georgia and do that, you know, that's good. And so he really is stepping up and playing well. So
with he and Jordan, and you get Geiger and Vito back, that position seems like it's in.
Yeah, it gets thin because they get beat up, and but we need them all, and you play nickel and dime packages, and some of those guys are versatile, but it is good, and do have to recognize Jordan, as you brought up his name as well, because I really think Jordan Lovett's playing at a very good level and playing very fast and very confident for a youngster. And again, I talked about him early in the season, but he's one of those guys again, okay, situation happens, he's thrown in, and he's a guy I'm really not worried about because I know he's going to go. I know he's going to go, and he's going to make some mistakes, but I know he's going to go and play. He's really playing fast, and he's learning with every opportunity, and I love that. That's what happened. Much like Trevin, he's not perfect. He's going to make mistakes, but he's a good player. Go play. And sure, at times we really like that experience and want those guys back. But you also, I'd love to have DeAndre back at any time. You know what I mean? But you also want the other guys to go play.
Mark, you've been on the defensive side of the ball your entire career, and you were a DC before you got here. When you look at what Brad does, and I know you work in concert with him, how is it that he is able to, what are his strengths when it comes to putting together a defensive game plan for a team like a Georgia or an Ole Miss, or, you got to change every week?
Well, that's the challenging part of being a defensive coordinator is you play so many different styles, and you don't always see that in the NFL, but you see it in college. You see many different styles, and so there's a lot of things that we do that stay to the core of who we are, and then the change-ups, are important. And even myself, when I was a defensive coordinator, it's like you had your staple of who you were, and then you get, they may get comfortable, and then there's subtle tweaks off of it, but number one rule is not beat yourself, right? And we're not always perfect at that in any area, but certainly defensively, if you get out of position with so many moving parts, you'll get hurt in a hurry. We did a relatively good job once again this past week of limiting explosives, and that's important. But again, I think it was matching their physicality was the most important thing. But Brad does a lot of things good. He's very intelligent for a front guy. He has a great handle on the whole picture, because secondary and how that fits and protection on them, and when you pick your spots is extremely important. But he has a good, really good feel for the entire picture, and he has good coaches and support around him. But does a really good job.
Mark, when you obviously still got a bowl game to play, but how important is it to play well in that last regular season game, especially in a year like this where maybe you haven't reached your goals, but you want to finish on a good note?
Yeah, there's no doubt, because we've had we've had more, down times than we'd like, and so it has been challenging. It is different, it's a different era, it's different times, and things are changing fast with this landscape. And so, for me, I think it's very important, to win the last game. And it's important to win the bowl game. It kind of sets the tone for the whole off season and, the morale of your team. And so it's a big game. It's a rivalry. I think Louisville's playing very, very good. I know they're much more confident probably this year than they've been. With the way they're playing and the way in some of the games we've had. So we have to be prepared and ready to go.
Mark, after the game, Rich was really emphasizing the importance of playing this complementary game plan. And he said he never goes rogue on his play calls. I was just wondering how much influence, what's the communication like between you and him when it comes to making these play calls?
Very little. I don't know. I mean, people think I'm a defense coordinator, offense coordinator, and special teams coach, but that's not the head coach. I'm responsible for the structure of it all, and ultimately, it's on my shoulders to make sure it's right. But I don't know, little to none, other than as we meet in the office and discuss previous games, things that are going good, things that are going bad, you know, there's only so long with any area. You know, if things aren't right, then that's where I'll draw a line in the sand and say that's enough of that. Like, you know, do something else. But once the plan comes together and during a game, very little. The only time is just from a defensive perspective or 10 years of experience, if I feel like, you know, not letting a team off the hook. You know what I mean? That's the only time. You know, I'll step in. Like, again, Hayden Fry, scratch where it itches, right? Learned that a long time ago, many years ago. So if, you know, we are doing some of that, and I'm talking 1-2 times a game. Like, okay, we're grinding, or, you know, keep on pushing until they stop. You know, that might be very few. So, no, it's not my overall input, you know, in play calling. That's his job. I just want to make sure if things aren't in place, then we review it and talk about it and watch it on film and come to a good conclusion together to make sure we're putting our players in a position to be successful. I felt like we had a good, you know, that, again, I've told the team this many times. You guys have heard me say it. It's not coaching, but it's cliche, or, you know, if our preparation's right, if our plan is right, that's not to say we make mistakes with calls and things. It happens to everyone. But you got to make sure that, you know, you're putting your players in a position to be successful. And there are certainly times in all sides, offense, defense, special teams, when we've fallen short. But there's also times when we have done a good job. And I felt like as an overall plan, we had a good plan this past week. Not perfect. I could get criticized for that, but that's okay. You know, but I watched the film and I see it, and there were some plays there. And we left some plays on there. They were there. You know, it might be pressure, it might be a tip, maybe a high, you know, pass. You know, the third down to Jaton, fractions off. The why, you know, why delayed, you know, to I forget who that was to. Dingle, you know, through the middle was a big play. I mean, there was plays there. The play action off the fake toss, poker. You know, we missed the throw. You know, there were some plays there. We left some points on the board, and that's not pointing fingers at any position or anything. It's just me making sure the overall structure's right. And again, I don't think we're perfect at all. I know there's areas where we're all disappointed, and certainly will be addressed in you know, at the appropriate time. You know what I mean? But I felt like we gave our kids a chance to win this past week. Again, the special teams. I mean, that's one heck of a Georgia team, and we were plus 12 with making a bad decision. You know, even with the call on the kickoff return, we were still plus 12, but we missed another field goal. You know what I mean? So to play, you know, we had an opportunity to be plus 20 against Georgia in hidden yards in the core 4 on special teams against the #1 team in the country. That's pretty solid. But we all know you can't have a bad snap and hold, leaving 3 points on the board.
Mark, you got.
Go ahead.
Along that same line about the coaches, what's your philosophy on coaching your assistant coaches? And is that something when you first came here as a new head coach that you kind of have to develop over the years?
Well, I think, you know, you always, I mean, we are all held accountable. You know, I have bosses. You know, I have people that I have to answer to, and they do as well. And so, you know, if things aren't right, then, you know, we go through that, you know, and we go through every game and we watch the film, and they have to be held accountable, you know, and make sure their position's playing right. And you know, it's my job, you know, with the football team. There's times this year when, you know, hey, again, I don't need to beat a dead horse, but we've fallen short a couple times, and that's on me. I take pride in having Mitch not have to come over here and talk, you never see us. You know what I mean? And not have to worry about it. Let me handle my backyard. I've always been like that. You know, as a position coach, I'm going to handle my backyard. You know, and as a coordinator, I'm going to handle it. You know, and I'm a head coach now, so obviously a lot more on your plate. But the coaches, everybody has a role. They have to do their role. And, you know, I'm not one of those guys that's going to put my head in the sand and be oblivious to it, but I'm also not going to make knee-jerk decisions after all this time.
Mark, you have recruits in play, you have 85 free agents, like you said. this big rivalry game. Where does the new contract fit into that in terms of stability going down the road?
Well, I think that definitely plays a role. I mean, I get asked all the time, and I don't ask things to get written. I don't put anything out there. You know what I mean? I mean, so I constantly have to talk to about that with recruits. I mean, stability, as I say to them, tell me, show me any, other programs that have been more stable. I'm committed to this place. I've shown it, time and time again, and certainly I appreciate the commitment to myself and our staff. So, I think it's very important and it helps, and, I don't like answering that to recruits.
Have you had to answer it a lot?
Of course. Of course.
All right, folks, thank you very much.